You might be able to just hear the stream that we tented at last night. I was really overheated and we stopped and still did a good, I don't know what it was, maybe 19 miles. It was a good day and we're starting again. Not sure what we're going to do today exactly. We've got about 4.5 miles into the little town of Acton. We'll have to get a hitch or shuttle or something to get us in there. It's a bit of a haul from the road, and we'll resupply. Maybe if there's a little restaurant or something, maybe we'll eat lunch there and head back out. And then we're going to try to get to Vasquez Rocks today. It's kind of an iconic place that has been in lots of movies and things like that. So we'll see. We're debating on, it's going to be so hot for this week at least. Again, just like it was yesterday. And so we're debating on whether to just head straight out from Acton and just hike in the heat, or whether maybe to try to start doing a little night hiking for the course of this week, maybe all the way even into Tehachapi, which is still a ways away. So we're gonna see. We might try and experiment and just sit out the daytime and hike in the mornings and the evenings for this week and see what happens. This is the trolley, tram, metro, whatever you call it, that goes between Acton, which we're trying to get to right now, to Agua Dulce, which we'll be to probably tomorrow. All right, the last message I put on here, I was right up over the grass back there, right almost ready to get to a parking lot to head into town, and that was around 9 o'clock this morning, and now it is 5:00 p.m. and we spent the entire day in the little town of Acton, and we resupplied. We ate at the restaurant, we ate some more, we hung around in the air conditioning, we chilled out, we drank tons, and now here we are, and we're going to try and do this as a somewhat of a night hike. So it's 5 o'clock. We've got 6.5 miles to Vasquez Rocks. We might end up there. Depends on how we're feeling, whether they have water there. Either way, I'll video something from there. And we might go all the way to Agua Dulce, which is a little over 8 miles. And if we do that, we'll have to figure out where to stay. We might go, there's water in about 10 miles. I don't know whether we'll be feeling good about then, but we'll see. And I'll let you know how this experiment goes. Well, it's about 96, 97 in shade. So it's of course still super hot starting at 5 o'clock, but good news is the sun's low. So there's a little bit of shade on the trail. Can't really tell right here. But when we round the corner, at least half our bodies, if not our whole body, are in the shade from time to time, which really makes a huge difference. And the temperature in the sun is quite a bit lower than it would be if it was midday. And we're getting lucky with a good breeze. And within an hour, that sun's going to be behind the mountains quite a lot, if not totally, just depending on where we end up. So I think we timed this just about right. That's some pretty good heat for a while, but it's going to subside fairly quickly. As you can see up there, there's a decent amount of shade we're going to be walking into. So, yay! 6 o'clock. Been hiking for about an hour. Temperatures dropped from 96 to, I don't know, 88 or 89. Still feels pretty dang hot, but still a little breeze. You can see there's quite a bit of shade, more than there was before. So this is working out pretty well. Hopefully within an hour, we'll start cooling off to the point where we're not, you know, our body temperatures can come down and we can just start trucking. Hey, so I've been out here about 2 hours now. And the temperature's dropped a little bit, but not really much, a degree or two from an hour ago. So I'm a little surprised by that. You can see we're almost totally in shade, but we're about to go up that way and we might end up back in sun again. But really the bigger issue is that we're carrying 5 days worth of food now. You know, we just resupplied. That makes our packs way heavier. We actually both sent a whole bunch of supplies ahead that we didn't need until it gets colder. I'm not sure how much, but it was a heavy box. We might have sent 4 pounds of stuff ahead that we're not carrying. Maybe more than that. But because we got so much food now, and even worse than the food is the water, because our water sources are not clear going ahead. There's some information at Vasquez Rocks, which is the next place we're heading, that says water at the spigots when turned on. Who knows if they're turned on? And then when you read some of the comments about, you know, from people that have been there recently, there aren't any comments about water, which is unusual. Usually, you know, people are constantly commenting, hey, the stream's still flowing, stuff like that. So we can't assume there's water there. And then the town of Agua Dulce is coming after that. And there's of course water in that town. But when we go, if we were to go through it tonight, which is still like 8 miles away, so that's a ways. But if we were to go through it tonight, it's going to be night time. So it's not like we're going to go into a restaurant and, you know, see if we can fill up water. So there might be some spigots there too, but we can't find information about exactly where they are. So anyway, whatever. We're carrying too much water, probably. About 3 liters apiece and maybe a little more. And that coupled with the food and the heat is weighing us down. So we're hoping we get to Vasquez Rocks and there's plenty of water there. Well, it's a little over 3 hours since we left tonight. It's about 8:15. About the time that we would be asleep or just real close getting to sleep. And we've come across this highway. I think it's Interstate 14. Maybe it's just Highway 14. Anyway, you can kind of see that tunnel there in the distance. That's where we're heading. Barely see it around the trees. We have to go through there to get to the other side. And then we should be about, I don't know, a couple miles away from Vasquez Rocks. Not sure if we'll stay the night there or not. Creepy. Well, we're in the Vasquez Rocks Park, or really close to it. There's going to be some tenting up here, so we're going to have to be quiet. So I might be done videoing for the night, but if there's anything, I'll just video it silently and then see you tomorrow. It was dark when we got in last night. This is our beautiful morning spot. Time to get going. So these are the iconic Vasquez rocks that have been in lots of movies. Of course, we're out close to LA and Hollywood and all that, but most notably, Captain Kirk had a scene in here way back in the day in Star Trek. Look it up. But this whole area is pretty amazing. The rock structures, you saw some of it from last night. It's really crazy what's happened. To the rocks in the area. Well, we walked out of Vasquez Rocks Park and right onto a street. And this is the first town that's literally, you know, where the Pacific Crest Trail is literally through the town. So this right here, what we're walking on is actually the trail. And so there's not a lot in this town, but I think there is a small, like there's a hardware store and a restaurant. So we haven't discussed it. I don't know whether we'll stop and get anything to eat or not, but I mean, we just walked out of the last town, you know, last night. So, or not walked out of, but left it. So we'll see. We just need to get some water and then we'll get back on trail. It's about 9 a.m. and we just pulled off the road. You can probably see, maybe kind of see, well, you can't really back there, but anyway, you can see over there we've been walking on the roads in town and then dirt roads outside of town. We literally just stepped onto the trail again, even though the roads are actually formerly part of the trail. And it is hot. It's a little over 90. And of course we have the umbrellas out. We've got about 6 miles to water. The information says that there's barely a trickle coming out of this little piped spring. But as of yesterday, it was at least a trickle that you know, just take you a little while to get everything filled up. But so we've got a little extra water, but not a lot. So we feel pretty confident with that little trickle. And then, not only will it take a while to fill things up, but we're gonna have to fill up a bunch extra because it's 15 miles to the next water after that in this heat and stuff. And 15 miles, I mean, that's like, really, it's like every bit of water storage that we have, especially in this heat. So we haven't decided what we're doing, you know, whether we're gonna try to chill out and hike when it's cooler or just go through or, you know, whatever, but we'll figure it out when we get there. We've been climbing for a couple of hours and it's hot. It's not as hot as it was yesterday. Yesterday when we were in town, the locals told us it was supposed to cool off for the next few days, next 3 or 4 days, you know, which means instead of being 96, 97, 98, it's supposed to be 91, 92. Which is so far been true. It's been 91 or so for a few, 3 hours now. Well, hopefully it won't get any hotter. Doesn't seem like that big a difference, but it's been a decent difference, and also there's just been a pretty consistent breeze, so light but consistent. So we're making it. Started to overheat a little bit ago and had to stop. Just found a good little hill to sit on. We could hide under my umbrella, get all my whole body in the shade. Just sat there for 5 minutes and the breeze really cooled me off, and so we're going again. Maybe 2.5 miles to the water and another break. What in the world is that thing? That's freaky. I've never seen that before. We're getting close to the water. Should just be a quarter mile away or so. Wondering where these trees and the shade's been all day. Well, we probably spent a solid hour at the water source, and it was good, and we drank lots and cooled off. It was a big shady area with tons of flies. And we ate our lunch and some extra food. We've eaten so much today so that we can lighten up our packs. So, the last day or two, we're going to be a little light on food, but hey, that's all right. We have all these calories sitting in our gut from today. Now we're back on trail, and it's, back in the heat, but it's just not as bad as it was yesterday. And we just came around the corner and saw that. Not sure what that lake is. Sure looks nice. Wish we were going there. We thought we had another 15 miles to water, but when we were at this water source, this guy and girl came in, pulled up that we had seen before, and we were just sitting around chatting, and anyway, they said that there's kind of an unmarked water source on there. We got looking at some of the comments and the information, and yes, there is. So we only have to go about just a little over 8 miles to get to water. So that's awesome. Instead of carrying 4 liters, we're just carrying 2 liters, which is beautiful. And we'll just get into there and get whatever we need, and then that'll probably be the end of our day. We'll probably start looking for a place to tent at that point, because we'll be somewhere around 18 miles. So we'll see if it takes us anywhere close to that. I haven't seen that in the information though, so I don't think we're going there. So that is Bouquet Reservoir, and I looked on the map. We will not be going down to it, but we will be hiking off to the side, around it on the right side. Probably see some of the trails over there that we'll be hiking on. Some of that's probably just road that we won't be on, but we'll be hiking around it today. Get some good views. Looks like it's way down on water, just like every lake I've seen in the past few years. We've hiked about 3 miles or a little more since leaving the water source, and we crossed our personal 200-mile mark. So not the 200 miles, on the Pacific Crest Trail, but just we started at mile 266 a few days ago, whatever that is, 10, 11 days ago, and now we just went over 466. So we're at about 200 miles out of 2655, and our reward is the thermometer now shows 99 or maybe 100 degrees. So it's gotten a lot hotter, and we've got another 5 miles to the water. Oh, we're doing okay, but we just keep talking about different plans we could do so that we could hike when it's not so hot out here. I don't know about the hiking in the evening thing. We're now talking about, you know, is there any way we could go to bed early enough that we could get up at 3 in the morning and get hiking by 4:30 and have a couple extra hours of, you know, just no sun. So I don't know what's gonna happen. We'd like to come up with some plan other than baking ourselves like chickens. It's been a little bit of a rough afternoon. We stopped again, try to cool off. And when we started, it was so hot. It had gotten hotter. I think we were just in the wrong part of the canyon. And okay, I'm back. Had to stop videoing because there's a whole bunch of poison oak we were trying to avoid. Anyway, so it just got super hot and no wind, and so we didn't make it very far. We didn't even make it, well, we maybe made it 1 mile. We stopped again. We were dying and found a shady, like, kind of tent spot and just laid down on our backs under the trees. And I think we probably both even dozed off just for, you know, a minute or two, but we were there for a while, 30 minutes plus, and just really cooled down and decided, well, let's jump back up and try it again. You know, our water's not going to last forever if we just lay here, so you know, we got up to go, and you know, it was markedly cooler. We're down to like maybe 91 instead of 97, 98. Been a good solid breeze the whole time, so we're making good time. We got enough water left. Everyone's gonna live. So I think when we get there, when we get to this water source, we're probably just gonna tent here, although we did talk about going maybe another 3 miles or so, but well, I doubt that happens. Good morning. We are getting an early start today. We got up around 4, well, slightly after. Hard to wake up. And we jammed on it fast. And we are out here hiking by 5. Just ate our breakfast on the go while we were walking. And we're just trying to get in as many miles as we can before it gets ridiculous hot again. Yesterday sucked. At least for me. And so anyway, I'm not going to keep making videos day after day about how hot it is, but we're trying this today and it seemed to work well. We did have a night that was a little bit weird. We got into camp early. It was hot, you know, we were ready to crash out. Thought we found a perfect spot. And all of a sudden, all these kids, these younger adult people started showing up. And they were all friends and all whatever. Anyway, they just hung out like right next to us, set up right next to us, even though they had tent sites all over. And we're just loud until, you know, 9 o'clock. And so anyway, we did not get to sleep like we thought. We just sort of laid there and tried to listen to music and get to bed, but we couldn't. So anyway, we're not operating on tons of sleep. Certainly not enough sleep, but I think we'll be okay for a while. And then we'll see what happens. How many miles we get this morning, we might. You know, we haven't really even talked about what we'll do. You know, whether we'll kind of hike all day, off and on, try to get tons of miles in, or whether we'll stop and just, you know, find a shady spot and maybe take a siesta during the heat of the day. We'll just have to play it by ear and see what happens. But we're enjoying this beautiful morning right now. It is 6:47, and I'm jumping on here because this is our first sun of the day, and it actually kind of felt nice for you know, 5 seconds. Now we're back in the shade, but we're gonna be back in the sun. You can see everything's sunny now. But anyway, so we managed to get, you know, not quite 2 hours of shade walking, and it was nice. Things are going to start to heat up fairly rapidly, I would guess. A little cave on trail. I'm sure there have been many hikers that have tried to stay in that before. Cool. All right, this is a fast forward 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we just stopped at a little spring to get ourselves some water so we can head towards our tent site. And what has happened in between this morning and now is we hiked another hour or two and did some pretty good miles, and then ran across this couple from Australia that we had very briefly met this morning. Just talked to them for a couple minutes and hiked on. Their names are Mike and Beck, and their trail names, what's his trail name? Freebie, yeah. His is Freebie, hers is Cinderella. And they said, hey, we're gonna go into town with this next road. We're gonna try to hitch in, go to this restaurant we've heard about. And would we like to go hang out? We said, we're not sure. And we hemmed and hawed, and then we decided to go. And so we spent about 3 hours. Well, we hitched in. We all piled in this tiny little car that stopped for us. And we couldn't get to the restaurant we wanted to get to, but we got to a restaurant called Rock Inn. And we had some barbecue sandwiches. Hung out there about 3 hours and drank lots of Cokes and water. And actually, everybody else had milkshakes. And then we're back on trail now for maybe the past not even hour yet. So we're going to get a couple more miles in and probably call it a night. And then try our best to get up super early again tomorrow and do this, hiking in the dark thing. We thought we found our perfect tent site for the night. And then we look out and tiger lily spotted. Says, is that a rattlesnake?
Oh yeah, don't go too close, honey.
And yes, it's a nice size rattlesnake. So, I don't know what that means for us.